So you have a Deadpool movie for me? Oh, wait, it's fine. I already got a fix of a drink before I came in. It's fine. Oh, you're still insisting that I should. Oh, okay. So, okay, okay. Since you offered. Oh, so. Oh. So good. What? This is some sweet stuff. What is this? Oh, my guy. What exactly is this? Deadpool and Wolverine. Sold.
So this is what premarital sex on prom night feels like. Deadpool and Wolverine is the third entry in the Deadpool trilogy, and I say trilogy because we never truly know when this little munchkin is truly done with it, much like this other Aussie little munchkin who said that he's hanging up the claws. Psych! Slap the Marvel Studios logo on there and baby, he's back in town. Directed by Sean Levy and starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, it follows Wade Wilson, who toils away in the wake of civilian life as the days of being the merc with the mouth were long behind him. That is, until he finds out that his homeworld is facing an existential threat, and he must reluctantly suit up again and team up with an even more reluctant variant of everybody's favorite 6'2" honey badger. It goes without saying that everybody, and I mean everybody, grew up with the X-Men movies, or even movies based on their 20th Century Fox in general. But most of all, the one figure that really stood up among the rest of everyone else was none other than Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I'm sorry, but even with all the fan casts that everyone's been making about the character, like the kid who grew up thinking that he was a wizard, or the guy who practically slayed as Elton John and who played a character whose name is appropriate for a breakfast appetizer, there could be never ever be anyone who's further up to the task than Jackman himself. Like, his performance alone helped turn this character into a household name amongst the superhero adaptation genre, right next to Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. And now knowing that finally, after 20 years, we've got to see him don the yellow and blue suit, alongside the fact that he's closely collaborating with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, with the much-awaited team-up within our grasp at last, I've gotta say, it was very much worth the wait. It really was.
First of all, the movie's opening scene is perhaps one of the greatest, and I'm not even exaggerating, one of the greatest opening scenes in a comic book movie, like, ever. And this is coming from someone who's admired the opening scene for each and every one of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy movies. There's just something that evoked a lot of energy and the epitome of reeling the audience into the realization that, yes, you're not losing your fucking mind. This is a rated R MCU movie. This is his first debut into the MCU, as a matter of fact. So why not bust some balls straight off the bat? Not only that, but the sequence in which this scene takes place in makes the sequence even more hilarious. And at the same time, it's a bit offensive, but you can't help but get invested in it. And that's what really sold the movie for me. And while this movie takes place entirely in the MCU now, it still retained much of the comedic formula and the slapstick humor that the first two previous Deadpool movies possessed, that made them so memorable and so enjoyable. And going into Deadpool and Wolverine, there are a lot of expectations on everyone's mind, especially now knowing the fact that Hugh Jackman, who's supposedly done with this character, is suddenly back in the fray, this time with his classic yellow and blue suit. While some of those expectations were, as a matter of fact, granted, sometimes it came off as a bit of a crutch in terms of how much nostalgia and callbacks to previous movies that this movie could truly rely on without diverting much of the attention from the plot.
And the plot alone was enough to drive the movie's central theme, which is of love and friendship, for an R-rated superhero movie which could very much be mistaken or poked fun of for its heavy utilization of the F-word and graphic violence. It has a surprising amount of heart and depth that ultimately served its purpose by granting us with the absolutely hilarious and comic-accurate chemistry between Deadpool and Wolverine. Their dynamic alone was enough to save this movie from becoming a soulless cesspit of fan service, and that's putting it lightly because I do love the cameos as much as the next guy. The way in which they try to one-up each other in terms of their aggressive back and forths, sometimes even quite literally getting at each other's throats, even with the knowledge that there isn't much at stake because they can both regenerate faster than a piece of meat from Chernobyl. It's a genuine treat to watch unfold, especially knowing that when Ryan and Hugh did interact for the very first time in character, it was from a poorly received origin story movie that got their dynamic completely ass backwards. And now knowing that this movie is here, it exists, and yes, Jackman is very much back in shape, and the movie does not let up with that single fact alone. It's truly a groundbreaking achievement in not only the close collaboration with the crew and Sean Levy, but to also dedicating much of their time and effort into delivering an unforgettable experience that fans have been waiting for decades.
The villain in this movie is Cassandra Nova, twin sister of Charles Xavier, played by Emma Corrin. And while the Deadpool movies aren't necessarily known for their memorable villains, I couldn't help but get excited at the fact that this villain is closely tied to being a nemesis of the X-Men this time around. If you would count, of course, the Juggernaut from Deadpool 2, but that guy was only there for the last sequence of the movie. Corrin did a tremendous job. She did, obviously. But her performance was unfortunately shackled by her limited amount of screen time, and the fact that she's basically nothing more than your average one-dimensional antagonist hell-bent on taking over universes and worlds without any form of fucking context as to why she chose to go that route. And that's another thing with this movie. The MCU really has a hard-on for the multiverse over the course of their dwindling years. Even Deadpool himself made a joke about it, and that's not even a spoiler, mind you. While the movie is basically centered around two iconic characters in the middle of a multiversal catastrophe. Spider-Man No Way Home tackled a bit of it with Tobey and Andrew's return. The Loki series also tackled it a bunch, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Well, ants. A lot of ants. Regardless, at the end of the day, Deadpool and Wolverine is built upon the foundation of providing nothing short of mindless fun, entertainment, Hugh Jackman's totally not CGI hairy six-packs, and of course, a good fucking time. And walking out of this movie, it did exactly that. And whatever they have in store for these two characters in the future, you can bet your ass that I will be there no matter what. Now, if you'll excuse me.